Hello, welcome back. Well, Russia's Ministry of Defence has said that Moscow has come under one of the largest drone attacks since the beginning of the war in Ukraine back in 2022. Let's bring in our defence and security analyst, Michael Clarke. Great to have you here on the programme. So how worried do you think Moscow will be about this drone attack?
It's something to be remarked on. They say they brought down 11 drones, Ukrainian drones. I mean, last May, they brought down 8 drones, so this will make it fairly big. But also, I've just been counting up. I mean, I think they reported across the country bringing down about 35 different drones. So some in Bryansk, some in Kaluga, some in Tula, some in Belgorod. The Ukrainians are obviously launching drones in lots of places. And there's a refinery fire in Rostov, which the Ukrainians targeted 4 days ago. It's still going on. It's still, after 4 days, still burning. So the Ukrainians are trying to worry the Russians as much as they can across the whole border to make the most of what they're doing in Kursk.
Can I ask a really obvious question to you, probably? What exactly will these drones be doing? Are they like surveillance? Will they be dropping munitions?
They're one-way attack drones. They're suicide drones. So the idea is to get over a target and just go into it.
And
a bit like a doodlebug of the Second World War, the old V1s.
Yeah,
it's a suicide drone. And the Russians, if they say they've brought them down, they probably have. Of course, they've got to fall somewhere. And the chances are they will have done some damage, although there are no deaths reported. But from the Ukrainian point of view, they have the effect in Moscow of closing the airport. And that, again, for a while, and that brings home to the Russian people that this is war. You know, you can't insulate yourself from this. And that's the message that the Ukrainians are trying to send out. They know most of these drones won't get through. But if 1 or 2 get through, they score the point. And they inconvenience ordinary Russians in Moscow who pretend this isn't really happening.
That's really interesting, because in a way, I guess, the only way Ukraine could kind of win the war is to destabilise Russia. And you're saying that they're doing that with civilians, slightly with the airport, but also something's happening with the military as well behind the scenes, right?
Yeah, I mean, the Russians are still at 6s and 7s over what's happening in the Kursk Oblast, the Kursk region, this incursion. And they don't seem to have been able to sort out exactly who's in charge. And so last week, Dumin, who was one of the key advisors to Putin, was said to be told to sort it out. And Dumin is from Kursk, and he's a doer, he's a fixer, he's the sort of man who could do it. Yesterday, Belousov, who's the new defence minister, said, I'm establishing a council of 5, consultative council, to sort out what's going on. And so one of these 5 will do the logistics, and one will do medical support, and one will do civilian relief, and so on. And all of that is supposed to fit over Gerasimov, who is that's Belousov there in the middle. That's the new defence minister, having a look at some missiles, I would guess Iranian missiles, actually. Anyway, that's Belousov, and he said, we'll sort this out. But where does that leave him with Gerasimov? I mean, Gerasimov is the chief of the military, and the military is supposed to do this. And so in Moscow itself, you've got 3 people, Dumin, Belousov and Gerasimov, all of whom should be in charge, and it's not clear who is. And then on the ground in Kursk itself, the FSB are supposed to take care of the border. The Rosgvardia, who are the internal security troops, are supposed to take care of security. And the military have conscripts there. So you've got 3 different forces on the ground in Kursk, which is one of the reasons why they're not doing very well. And so it's apparent that 16 days after this incursion began, the Russians are still struggling to create a coherent response. And as we say, it's partly because Putin operates a sort of medieval court in the Kremlin. He's made Russian government into a medieval court. And when it's struck with a crisis like this, people just vie with each other to be close to the king.
Yeah, the power struggle is going on, but as you say, it could impact what's happening on the ground.
Yes, indeed.
Well. Thank you very much. Indeed, always good to have your expertise on the programme.